Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Firing Squad, and this is a new faith-based film from writer-director Timothy A. Che, focusing on a group of born-again Christians who wind up being executed in foreign land where they wound up being caught and put into prison. And this is based off of a true story about this British man. Well, to be fair, I don't know how much the specific character details are true, but this film focuses on a British man played by James Barrington, who for the first third of the movie goes well out of its way to make him the most annoying and just laughably just bad person who just hates Christians and thinks they're so stupid. And then all of a sudden, somehow we're supposed to buy that he magically turns Christian and then becomes absolutely not afraid of being executed and becomes God's best little follower. None of this movie feels believable enough to bridge that gap, and Barrington's performance is so flat and uninteresting, and Peter as a character is so flat and uninteresting. At the beginning, he's like, I love money. He's basically Mr. Krabs, except British and uninteresting to listen to. It's not Clancy Brown. And then he magically turns into, I love God, and that's my whole personality. He is such an uninteresting protagonist. And it becomes even harder to really follow him throughout this film once you start spending more time with Cuba Gooding Jr.'s Samuel Wilson, who has so much more personality than him, and Gooding at least brings a meaningful performance. And legitimately, in this film, I feel like there was one scene that felt like it was really, truly well put together and meaningful and impactful. And it's them walking to their execution, and who sold it? 100% Cuba Gooding Jr., which then completely takes the focus away from, why are we focusing on this other guy this whole entire movie when he's so uninteresting? And you have Kevin Sorbo, who's the pastor at this camp, who's also on death row. And for what he's not given a ton. He just spouts religious scripture and just God be with you, stuff like that. Very simplistic, Christian terminology. But he does a fine job. He actually feels like he can be engaging and making the most of the dialogue, which, for the record, the writing on this film is atrocious. So much of this dialogue is so bad, so poorly put together, and so uninteresting. It's like they find every single line the most uninteresting way to make the point they're trying to say. And also the most ridiculous sounding, because I was rolling my eyes so many times and just half covering my eyes because it was embarrassing to watch how laughably bad some of this movie was. And from a filmmaking standpoint, I'm not joking. This is on the same quality level of, The Room. Towards the beginning, it's just nothing but shots from, travel videos. Trying to, set the stage of, hey, he's a drug dealer going all around the world. And then there's points where they have these, travelogue clips with them so poorly CGI'd into them. I'm just who greenlit this? It's so horribly put together from a filmmaking standpoint. There, the one scene that I mentioned before, which was the one scene that really felt impactful, I don't believe it was the same director that shot the rest of this movie. Because even the final scene that's supposed to be this big emotional payoff was so laughably awkward and uncomfortable and silly because of its music choices, its acting, and just it felt so much of this movie felt like a parody, and which it isn't. I know deep down Che and everybody involved was trying to really sell a meaningful and positive message about faith, and I can respect that. But the execution of this was so poorly done. And there's this love story between Peter and this woman, Miriam. And the actress who plays Miriam does not sell anything. And there is no chemistry there. Their romance is, it's just like, he loves Jesus, I love Jesus, that's it. And there's nothing to this. And they're like, let's get married. And it's more absurd than like 90%, 95% of Hallmark romances, Lifetime romances, and Netflix romances. In all these horribly cliched rom-coms. And just, what really frustrated me was Tapua Inu, who plays the captain in this prison, has the worst dialogue imaginable. Because he's supposed to be like, I don't believe in love, I don't believe in faith. And his line delivery is so awkward, and every single line of dialogue he has is so poorly written and clunky that you could have given this to Daniel Day-Lewis, and he would have struggled to make this feel believable. This movie, I feel bad, because there's a couple, like, Cuba Gooding Jr. really sold his role, and one particular scene legitimately moved me. And this has a meaningful message, but everything else about this just felt like a train wreck. And it's so disappointing just watching this never come together. But those are my thoughts on The Firing Squad. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.